Okay. Just get it. Okay.
Get it. Okay.
Go ahead and start the call, Tom.
Yeah, I've turned on the recording.
Okay. You've already got it on?
Yeah, when you came on, I turned it on. All I have
Okay.
to do is press a button now. I don't have to go punching numbers in anymore.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, all you private American bankers. You didn't know you were one, but basically you are. Okay? That was the deception that they set up in 1933. Was they made everybody a private American banker. We were the ones that loaned our banking credit over to the other public entities and to the commercial banks. Okay, if they've ever taken property from you, you need to turn around and you need to put a 1099-C in it and say that they need to pay that money back for the mortgage that basically you paid out and all the interest. You let the IRS take care of it. The 1099-A, the 1099-B, the 1099-C, and the 1099-OID are private banking instruments.
No.
Yep. Okay? That's why you were told to learn your ABCs, because you were supposed to be a private banker and you were supposed to be utilizing those instruments in your transactions out here with the public world. You need to have your foreign grantor trust EIN because now you are a bank and trust. That 98 series number will be your bank routing number. Okay? Your private bank routing number. You can turn around and utilize your estate EIN and set up a private bank account with a commercial bank, but only in the private, not in the commercial side of that bank.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, Marshall, they were trying to get rid of you because that bank could not deal with the private. And you were coming in as a private banker. The other bank evidently could, if you set up a private non-interest-bearing account with them and paid them a fee with that bank. Okay? You need to start learning about banking out here in all this endeavor. And we are, like I said, we are a private banker. We have to go in and we have to claim our assets. And basically this is what the George Bush banking family did to hide this away from everybody, was to put it over under Homeland Security. Under privacy, under the privacy office. Now, if you have a private business, okay, you would have to go to the private service office in the process, okay? They're both listed in the white pages. Tom, I think, has posted the addresses or the address for the one up there for the privacy office and the fax number, and then I put a fax cover sheet going to them. Okay, so that's where we need to go through, is through this privacy office. They took it out of the Treasury, and that's why none of the stuff we've ever tried to get through the Treasury has worked. It's because it's been pulled out. Okay? And you need to go in, and I also had Tom post two definitions, privacy and private, out of Valentine's Law Dictionary. You need to read and understand those two words, privacy and private. Okay? You can go into the other dictionaries, but these two pretty much give a pretty good definition of it. Now, we're also operating under our right of privacy. And we have the right of privacy. And that's what these courts and everything, these public courts, they try and infringe upon our privacy with their tickets and everything else. What are they doing? They are basically entering our airspace. Our space is what basically they talked about back in the 70s. You've entered my space. Get out of my space. But they were talking about, in most cases, two people in the movies that what they were talking about at that point in time. But like I said, the movie Burlesque has it in there about air rights. Right of air. You have the right of the air over you. Wherever you are. That air over you basically is what you have a right to. Why do you think they make such a big deal about secondhand smoke and everything? Because all these nitwits out here think that that's what's really killing them when they don't realize that it's all the other carcinogens that are put in the air, like coming from the automobiles and everything else. That's what's really the killer. But they've got it masked over that the real killer's cigarettes. As far as I know, there's not one death certificate that has ever been attributed to smoking was the culprit for death. They can't put it down. They can only come up with, well, heart attack or basically massive trauma here or whatever. But they can't attribute the actual cause of death to smoking. But air rights in that movie, Burlesque, she had the air rights over her building. A skyscraper across the way, a condo that was selling condos for about $1 million a piece, was going to get blocked out if she had to sell her place to this other guy because he was going to build a building and then they wouldn't have the view of the ocean. They were located on Sunset Strip. So basically is what she did. She leased out her air rights over her building to this condo association, and then they paid her for those rights. Also, there is in English law basically a passage for the emission of air to a mine to maliciously fill up, obstruct, damage with the intent to destroy, obstruct, or render useless the airway to a mine is a felony punishable by penal servitude or imprisonment at the discretion of the court. Now bring that over here to America. when they try and place a lien on you, they have to enter your airspace. They're blocking, they're obstructing, they're damaging with the intent to destroy, obstruct, or render useless your airway to your assets, to your mine. There's also in the dictionary, I've told people that basically you'll find more stuff out in the dictionaries than you will go into all the codes and everything. In Black's First, you'll find this one, Act of State Doctrine. The principle which precludes American courts from inquiring into the validity of the public acts of a recognized foreign sovereign power within its own territory. You need to read between the lines on that one, but basically that's us in their public foreign jurisdiction. These public courts do not have any validity over us in the private, in our privacy. They can only try and get you to volunteer into their realm. You have the right of free will, of choice. They have no choice when they're sitting in a public office. Their choices are boxed in. They're the one that is inside the box. They do not have free will. They have a controlled will. And they can't come outside that box. They try and get you in to come into their box. That's the game that they're playing. The bankers, they turn around and they borrow the money from you. You're the private banker. They have no money. But you never gave them a 1099-A for the payment. And then you never did a 1099-C against them to make sure that they paid the loan back to you. If they took everything. The bankers set this thing up. They made you a private banker because they knew you would not be able to understand being a banker. Hell, most people can't even figure out their damn checkbook. They want everything handed to them. Now, don't worry about keeping track of your checkbook. I'll just call down there and find out what my balance is and basically have them send me a printout. No, you have to take on the responsibility. You're the private banker. You better start taking control of your account. The 98 series number is your private bank transmitting number. And now turn your private bank into a bank and trust. You have the estate EIN. You can utilize that as an estate to set up an account, a private bank account at one of the commercial banks to get some of their services that they have, like a debit card. I had Tom put up 2 new money orders. One is for purchasing items. Okay? That has all the information on there on the front page. It's a money order and conversion. We're converting our real assets into a conversionary asset that can be utilized out there by the corporations and the public people. The Treasury will send out a Treasury check, but it's asset-backed. Now, since we're sending that out into this public world, we need to do a 1099 OID and claim the original discount, because that's going out as a discounted item. Okay? We did not get the full value of our asset that we brought out. The other money order that's up there is a money order and conversion. And that is for you as a private banker to basically obtain your cash reserve. Every bank has to have a cash reserve. And you do not have to comply with what the minimum value or anything like that at the commercial banks. You determine what your cash reserve is. You're the private banker. Act like a private banker. You set your standards. And that would be turned around and sent to you in cash, whether it comes by FedEx, UPS, DSL, the Secret Service, the U.S. Marshals, Treasury agents. I don't really give a damn. It'll get there. But we have to process these things through the privacy office. Because they appear to be the one that we're going to have to interface so back to in the public world with the public treasury. Because we've not gotten any recognition out of any of those public officials, per se, in their realm. And Homeland Security means American land. So we are an American homeland private banker. And then we are operating under the right of privacy and also under the Act of State Doctrine. Now, I've also put templates up there for taking what I consider the 4 key public items that we have out here, which is the Social Security card, the voter registration card, the driver's license, and the passport. The passport basically put you into the postal savings world. Okay? That's what that passport really was, putting you into the postal system. And then the voter registration card, basically you allowed them to utilize the state every time they write a bill or the nation writes a bill, they have to have funding for it. So you volunteered with that voter registration card to be a creditor to them. allowing them to utilize your credit to fund their bills. The driver's license, the same thing. But it's a insurance policy. Because your marriage license and most of your other ones are along that same line. But these are the key identification documents. And then the Social Security card, basically that allowed the Federal Reserve banks and the commercial bankers to utilize your funds. As you were the creditor, and they're the debtor, really. And the utility companies, the public utility companies, same thing. They're the debtor to you. They borrowed your assets. You pay out of your back pocket. Now you have to turn around and do a 1099-C against them and tell them they have to pay that back. At least one payment of the two. See, the 1099-Cs, Bs, As, and OITs are our private banking instruments. To go and combat against the public world. And like Marshall found out, the one bank basically closed their account down. Well, basically they did that to me about 4 years ago. Because I was touching at that point in time about being a private banker with what I was doing. The instrument I was using were basically a private banker's instruments. And the local banks here couldn't deal with a private bank. Now, Bank America, USA Bank, Bank of Zion, there's a couple others out there. I think they will be able to handle private accounts and give you the services like a debit card or whatever. Then you would have to pay for their services. But that is not a commercial banking scenario. That's a private-to-private banking scenario. But if anybody's ever lost their house or anything like that, you turn around and do a 1099-C against them. And basically, they took your property. They're the ones that basically owed you the debt. They were the debtor. They borrowed from you to begin with. See, I've been touching on a lot of this stuff over the years. Now it's all just being pulled together in that we are a private banker. So look over those documents, read what they have to say, okay? The affidavit that I put up there. And then we turn around and we will work on having our documents ready to basically transfer the certificate of live birth, the DD-214, liquidate and transfer the assets for like the automobile, title, the marriage certificate, several of these others.
Baptism?
The baptism, which is a sesticate trust with a foreign Church of Rome. But we will have these processed through this privacy office.
So we don't need to do that right now. We just get these four in passport, voter, driver's license, Social Security.
You get those in and then get the others, start working on the others, okay?
The legal contract and the affidavit, that's what goes in.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question, Patrick. It's Gita.
Okay.
Do we have to redo the circular and the appendix with a different ABA number?
Do we have to do what?
The circular, the appendix 1, and the attachments?
No. Okay. Basically, you set those aside, okay? We were trying to do. We haven't. Basically, they said 5 to 7 days.
Right.
Several of us have been in there for over 2 weeks. We haven't heard anything from them. They're not going to touch us. Okay? We're private bankers. They can't deal with us. Once you have that 98 series number, you have just now become a private banker.
No, I'm thinking of, you were saying the master account was the back of the Social Security number. Do you think
I know, but if you've got a 98 series EIN, you're out of that system. You can't deal with the Federal Reserve banks. Because you're a private banker. You have to deal with this privacy office.
So it's best to do the affidavits, facts, and the legal
Do you
contract.
have your 98 series number?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do that affidavit. You have to do those 4 documents. If you've got all 4 of those documents that I posted up there, and you have to fax that in, or you mail it in.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
You want to be in a private, and then you better start learning how to be a private banker. Okay? You better start learning about some of the banking scenarios. This is what wasn't taught in school, how to be a banker.
Learning your ABCs?
Well, that's just part of it, okay? Knowing that you can carry a cash reserve, like a regular bank has a cash reserve. Study some of the things what a regular bank does. You're going to have to operate in similar capacities as a bank. But you're doing it all in the private. You won't owe taxes, but you have to force them to pay their taxes. They're the foreign corporation. They're the one that's operating out here with the other credits of the American people. And you have to force them to pay their income taxes. They're the foreign entity, and an income tax is a tariff tax. So if they're the foreign entity, it's a tariff tax upon them. And they've gotten us to volunteer to pay their damn tariff taxes for them. Because we've been so damn naive and everything and believe that the government wouldn't screw us. But this communist corporate government that we have will do that in a heartbeat. Okay, any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
So with the 1099-C, we only have up to 3 years to go back and claim it. Is that correct?
What's the statute of limitation upon fraud?
I'm not sure.
Infinity.
That's right. And basically, they've been operating in total fraud, okay, against the private side of America. Now we can see this. Now we can prove the fraud that they've been doing. That's why they haven't talked to us very much. Because to open their mouths, they would have been acknowledging fraud.
Well, when I did the routing number and the account number, the passport account number, and it took and then it kicked back, they froze my credit card account, the ones that I did it on. It kicked in and then it kicked back, so I think they just froze everything.
Yes, that's because basically they're not going to allow us to do that in their system. Okay? Just like I said, that's why that one bank threw Marshall out, closed his account down. They pretty much did the same thing to me about 3-4 years ago to both banks here in town. Because they can't deal with a private banker. They can deal with you if you're a public nitwit, but they can't deal with you if you're a private banker. There's only a select few banks that will allow you to come in and set up a private account as a private banking account with them. And you will pay a fee for their services. Just like you going out and basically getting service from the utility company. You're paying a fee for that service. But a lot of these local nitwit, commercial, public, run-of-the-mill banks out here, they don't have that capability. They probably could have that capability, but they ain't going to do it.
So by having our 98, we are becoming our own private banker.
What was that now?
So by having a 98 number, we are becoming our own private banker. We just have to follow.
You need to listen to this audio again, okay? I said that already.
I came on late, sorry.
Okay? That's the beauty of this recording this, okay? You guys can sit down, and in a lot of cases, you're not hearing everything that as I speak. But you can replay it. You take notes, replay it, stop it, whatever. Listen to it again to make sure you understand. This is what we were supposed to do in school, but basically we didn't have the luxury of having a tape recorder to tape what the teacher was telling us. But in most colleges, basically, most people take a tape recorder in there and then sit and listen to it 3 or 4 times to get what the teacher was telling them. Those are the ones that will probably get the B's, the A's and the B's. The other people that were in there and basically had their mind talking to themselves while the teacher was talking, and they only got part of it. So they might get a C or a D. Now, The choice is yours. Which one do you want? The information is here. Okay? I've told you a lot of this stuff is right out of the movies. All of this stuff is right out of the Bible. Okay? Now, like I said, there was two different offices that we found. One was that privacy office, okay? And then the other office was the private sector office. And see if you have a private business, okay? You're not in the public world. You want to have a private business all on your own. Then you would go to the private sector office in Homeland Security. Because when you get a check from a commercial entity, you're going to have a means to process that check back through the system. You're going to have to take those checks and send those back into the Treasury and have the Treasury process those. That you have to have an interface to deal with the public Treasury. And that's why you have to have your cash reserve in your private bank. So you have the funds to carry you over until those checks come back in with the payment. You've really got to think outside the box as a private banker, okay? Think about how you're going to handle certain situations. And then you're protected by Homeland Security, the U.S. Marshals, and the Secret Service when you establish your fact. But you have to get in and establish yourself in the private sector first. Okay, any other questions? Comments? Bitches? Whatever.
Yeah, I know a few of those.
I had found, Patrick, that I had downloaded a thing called Secret Banker's Manual, and I have no idea what it is. I have to take a look at it.
Well, it'll confuse you a lot because that is primarily for their side of the endeavor, okay? It's not going to tell you anything about the private banking, but it will give you some ins and outs in banking, but very little, okay? You just have to know. I mean, you've been around banks enough, okay? You know about checking accounts. You know about loans, okay? You do a loan to somebody. You send them a 1099-C, okay? And say that the loan has to be paid back. Then as soon as they pay you back, they would send you a 1099-A, and that would cancel out the 1099-C that you have.
Hmm.
You know, as soon as they pay it back, basically their obligation is over. Now, if they don't pay it back, then it's going to be like they're going to have to pay taxes on it. because they're in the public world. If you made it out for somebody with a Social Security number, or basically you made it out to a corporation with a EIN. Now, when you do a purchase, basically like if for a vehicle or something like that, you would give them a 1099-A. You're doing an acquisition. You're purchasing something. But they're going to have to account for that funds into their bank account on their income tax. Like I said, you're the private banker. You owe no income tax. If you stay out of the commercial banking system, the foreign trading system, you operate with lawful currency, lawful exchangement, and there is no tax on a lawful exchangement. The only thing that we will turn around and do is claim back our items that basically, like the 1099-C. If we didn't get that paid back, we'll claim that back on a filing. On a 1041. And then also on a 1041, we would claim back the discount, the 1099 OID values. Because, see, our asset was discounted when it went into their system of value. Okay? It's asset backed, but it's at a discount in their system. So we have to claim back part of that discount. But until you make the transition, the conversion of real assets into their system, you can't do the 1099 OIDs. Because if you're using their currency, then it's already discounted, and basically there's not going to be a means for you to claim anything back. You're claiming something that basically wasn't there because you're using their interest, their usury, bondage monetary system. And that's why several people went to jail because of 1099 OIDs. They thought they were using their real assets, but they weren't. Only when you use real assets can you claim the discount back. It's all making sense to me. I don't know whether it's making any sense to you people or not. Because most of you are too damn afraid to ask the damn question.
Well, it's making sense, but I have to keep going over to drill it in. I mean, you live and sleep this stuff, and you're drilling it in all the time. We've got to duplicate that.
Yeah, and I've been hitting a lot of this stuff for years, okay?
But also I think sometimes we have to remember, like, now, Patrick, I'm not intimidated by your demeanor or anything. I appreciate it because I've grown up around my grandparents, my father, and my uncles who are like this, so I'm not afraid. But I think what it is that we have to remember that a lot of people process things differently in their learning ability. So as a teacher, when you teach the people, that always has to go into play where you have to understand that they're going to process things differently. But I appreciate the information. I'm not afraid to ask a question. If you bite my head off, I don't care. I just want the information.
No. Got a question for you, though.
Okay.
You're not saying that your grandparents and everything were assholes like me, are you?
Yes, I am. I'm saying they are. They were.
Come on, don't belittle your grandparents now.
No, they're good people, but I'm saying that they meant what they said, and I understand. And you conveying information. I feel your heart. I hear your heart. You have a heart for the people. You do. So I get that. You know, your method and the way you convey it doesn't bother me. I want the information, and I hear the heart behind the conveyance. So it doesn't. I'm not afraid of that. So I appreciate the information. So it's okay if you bite my head off, but I'm still gonna ask a question. I might get on your nerves, but I don't care. I want to be liberated.
And see, the teachers, the best teachers that I had were the hardest ones. And basically, I have called upon all of my studies back in my high school and grade school time frame and everything. And basically, the information that they gave me was the information that comes to the forefront faster than any of the other teachers that I ever had. Because what they said stuck with me, and it was there. And yes, I thought it was hard, that they were hard-hearted and stuff like that at times, but basically, I see that they were saying the truth, and that's when you have a teacher that basically is telling you the truth, that's the one you sort of shy away from. You want the nicety teachers, the ones that sort of bend over and make you feel good. Well, I'm not that way because I know what I came up through, and basically I know the teachers that gave me the most were the hardest ones. So I know I'm not a teacher. I don't have a teacher's certificate or anything like that, so basically I'm just trying to help. I'm just a helper. I'm trying to help people with gain the knowledge and try and put it forward to bring it to the forefront.
Yes. I feel that. I hear that. So I go past all the other stuff. So I do hear that.
Okay. Hopefully this will get through to a bunch of people that basically have sort of upset, saying that I don't want to hear their stuff, because I don't have time to sit and try and analyze this other stuff that's being put out here, okay? I'm trying to analyze what I see as the truth. And basically it took the Secret Service sending a money order back to me, and then on the Secret Service, on the letter, the return letter, it had Homeland Security above it. Well, basically the day before yesterday, I went out mushroom hunting, and basically I do some of my best thinking when I'm out mushroom hunting, even though I didn't find anything. I sat there and said, Secret Service, Homeland Security. I wonder if there is something hidden away in Homeland Security. Well, yes. And Papa Bush and the Bushes basically set up that Homeland Security system, but they had to maintain the system for the people out here to be able to come out and obtain their private banking scenarios. Well, what better place than to hide it in Homeland Security and make everybody shy away from Homeland Security, saying that's all for the corporation. and people can't even understand. Homeland. That means the American land. Security. But they hid it in, and then they put a bunch of other garbage in there out here to make people shy away from it. And then they put their deceivers out there, putting the word out, oh, you need to stay away from that, just like they kept everybody away from Admiralty and away from these different items that basically were for our benefit of understanding. And they just drew more mud in the damn pool. So the water got milkier and milkier, and you couldn't see the other end of the pool underwater.
So we may
There's
end
so
up
many scenarios out here. You can go through just about every one of them and make up your own scenario of what took place. Metaphors.
So we may end up later working with Admiralty again?
No, don't even say that, Tom, okay?
Okay.
Just think about private, okay? You're going to stay out of courts, okay?
That's true.
Now, basically, since we haven't had much luck in this, if we go to this privacy office, we might be able to have this privacy office issue the warrants that we were wanting to have those accounts liquidated. They're the ones that can deal with the public. We can't any longer. As a private banker. We could deal with an individual or a company in the private, or in the private, but we can't deal with them in the public. When you go to McDonald's, you're dealing in the private. You're giving a private order to that public McDonald's. But they're dealing with you in the private also, as a private franchise owner. See, you've got to understand where the dividing line is between private and public.
Yeah, I was trying to imagine where would I cross that line with McDonald's to get into the public? Probably never.
If you set up basically a credit line of credit with them, you would now be in the public with them.
Okay. So we don't want to give $1,000 to the grocery store for an account.
No, you can. Okay, you're dealing with them in the private.
Right.
You're not asking them for credit.
Right.
Okay?
We talked about that before, but now I see that was wrong.
Yes. You've got to straighten your mind out, Tom, in thinking about private and public in this endeavor. And that's one of the hardest things for almost everybody out here.
Wow, Ray, that was a whole lot of noise.
That's going to be one of the hardest things for most everybody out here, is to get their mind wrapped around this staying out of the commercial world, the usury system out here. And then putting your protections in place that basically they cannot infringe upon your privacy. Read the Privacy Act. And then read that definition. Basically, in Valentine's is pretty damn good. Okay, any other questions? If not, I'm going to get off here. You guys can stay online and talk this stuff over amongst yourselves then.
Okay.
And then turn around and listen to this audio several times. Take notes. Okay? And check out the different things if you have a question there. And basically then I will answer some of the questions tomorrow night.
Okay. So we got a lot of work to do. Yes. Thank you, Patrick. Okay. And I agree with you all.
Take care.
You.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you. Now I have a question for some people that are on the line. I don't know if anyone can help me or not, or can email me. People still online? Are you guys still on the call?
Yep.
I have a question regarding, because I already submitted for my estate EIN number. I actually faxed that information in. But I needed help with what am I supposed to do when it comes to filing for the 98 series. I was told that I just clicked the check box that says trust, TIN, or grantor, and I also was told that I had to have a PO box address.
It would be good for you to join the Skype group because where we talk about that there, and we have a method where two people get together and they phone in each other's 98 number.
Okay. All right. So, so the group is under we, the people _ shareholders?
No, you've got the welcome email?
Yes, I do. It's down in there. I have to go back to all my emails and find it.
Right. Well, if you can't find your email, if you go to the file section on the Yahoo site, in the main folder, down at the bottom is welcome.txt. In there, it will tell you how to get to the Skype groups.
Okay.
You basically have to send me a Skype contact request and say you want to be in the Skype group.
Okay.
And then we have developed a script of what you need. You have to fill out an SS4 and then assign someone as your third-party designee, and they'll assign you as their designee, and you alternate on the phone getting your number.
Okay, I got you. All right. Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that tomorrow. Is there a specific time that people get together on Skype, or you just
yes, specific time 24/7. Maybe not all of it, but most of it.
I didn't hear you. Broke up on me, Tom. Say it again.
We're on all the time.
Okay. Okay.
It's not a scheduled thing. It's a chat box. We talk to it. It's like talking to the Yahoo group in email, except we don't use email.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Thomas.
Yes.
So it's best to hold off on the money orders you were saying, right?
Yes.
I got a little late.
Basically, he said that we have to send in our what's in the new folder, our legal contract, our affidavit, and the 4 termination agreements, and that will basically function like a signature card. Once we have that in place, then we can send in a money order for our reserve and start making purchases.
Or if we don't want to purchase, we can just do a money order.
Yes, get a big reserve.
Right. Yeah, I have to listen to the beginning. I missed it.
Right.
A lot.
I think this is an excellent call for us to break up and transcribe it.
Okay.
Transcribe it in detail, and when it refers to definitions, put those definitions right into the transcript, and and make it a text. So we should probably break it up into 15-minute segments. So you know,
it really wasn't a long call tonight, right? It was less than an hour.
No, it wasn't. Yes.
Okay, good.
Right. Okay, I'm going to turn the recording off now.